Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of They Say. My name is Allison McFarland, founder and CEO of Allison McFarland Inc. And on today's episode, we're talking about legacy. And I am so honored to have one of my dearest friends, sister, someone I deeply admire, just a light to the world. I adore her. Sophia Gonzalez is here. Yeah. Hi,
Hello.
Sophia.
Thank you so much for having
Oh
me.
my gosh, thank you for saying yes. This has been a long time coming. Me and you
Yes.
have talked about this since I started my little podcast in my house. So we've upgraded. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, I was just admiring the setup when I got here.
Right. It's super nice, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm so grateful. So, Sophia, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm the president of Employment and Training Centers. My parents started the business back in 1986, and I took it over 4 years ago, and it was like drinking from a water hose. I mean, there was a lot to absorb, a lot to pick up on, but finally starting to make some stride.
Yes, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank
Because
you.
Sophia, like, let me hype her up. I'm going to be her hype woman because her and I used to just like, we were in West Chase
Yes.
at a bank, working in West Chase, where everybody considered the absolute worst branch of this particular financial institution. And I think that was like, we've made the most money for that branch the time that we were together. So we call ourselves the dynamic duel. We had everybody in there getting really understanding the importance of saving for retirement and just really understanding the importance of legacy, which is why it's so important that I called this particular episode Legacy, because Sophia, as a former financial advisor and someone that was sent to the absolute like worst of worst locations to be able to build financial wealth for people, you really embody legacy. And I've seen you put your hands to the plow when others said it was not going to work. It worked. So thank you.
Right. No, thank you.
Oh my God, thank you.
It was so much fun. There were some really interesting things that happened there, but just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean that it can't be done. And so it was a wonderful learning opportunity, and both of us saw it with that outlook, right? Just because it hadn't been done before, just because the demographic was the way that it was, doesn't mean that you can't uncover some amazing opportunities. And so, by the time that we left, we had folks coming to our branch
Yep.
because so we were able to drive traffic because we truly cared about the folks that we were working with.
Yes.
And
is
that's
so
been
true.
one of the interesting things too, right? So how do you
Right.
shift from being a financial advisor to staffing and recruiting?
Right. How do you shift?
But it's just about caring about people, working with people and helping them be the best version of themselves.
And
Yes.
and you know what? You've done it so gracefully because I have called you and asked you, hey, can you have a conversation with this particular person? And you're like, anything for you, Allison. And she will come in the middle of the night, not too late, but and go and have those really candid conversations and kind of help people figure out what their next is going to look like. So as you like, what makes you so willing to invest in others?
What does? That is a question that I have not been asked before. I
Oh.
think it's just, also meeting folks at that opportunity where whether they're coming into a bank and they need help or they need help because they need to revise their resume. When someone is coming to you with that willingness and that openness, it's really difficult to say no.
Right.
And I'm always so curious to hear about people's background and their stories because the resume only says one thing, or your
Right.
bank account only
Yeah.
says one thing, but there's a story behind there that is always really interesting to uncover. And then what changes can we make to make sure that you have the most successful path going forward?
I think that's powerful. And you come from a family with such rich roots in Houston. Like your mom is a pillar in our community and your dad too. So how do you stand on the shoulder of giants? So how do you navigate that, Sophia? Because that can probably be overwhelming being compared to your parents. And how do you stand on their shoulders but still in your authentic self?
Right. So I think that it's important to recognize that I'm going to cast a different shadow.
Okay.
Right. I'm not going to fit into those shoes. if you will, and just owning. And I think that, and I'm going to also give high praise to both Irma and Roberto because
Yes.
they are my heroes. And they did such a good job in raising us and allowing us to be our individual selves. So I have two sisters. We also look very similar.
Yes, it's almost like triplets.
Yes, exactly. But we made it a point to really empower. That's just the way that our house was, right?
Right.
Having a really strong woman in the household, a really strong father in the household, and that we were all allowed to celebrate what we're good at, our uniqueness.
You really are. And I can say after sitting down with your mother and just getting her pearls of wisdom, I can appreciate that too, because she was very candid and very honest and very transparent and definitely will hold you accountable.
Yes, all of those things.
All of those things. But I think as our younger generation, right, as that millennial, Gen Z, as we come forth, it's important to have that accountability and be able to pull back from the leaders that have gone before us.
Right.
So how do you
Yes.
feel about that?
Yes, because we have to see where we've come from in order to move forward. So one of the interesting, I know this is slightly off topic, but something that's going on right now in Houston at City Council is that they're looking to remove certain minorities from the MWBE program.
Yeah.
And so if you take a look at, we just did this, I think back in 2008, where they removed women from the program. And when they removed women from the program 4 or 5 years later, when they ran the disparity study again, they found that that percentage had dropped to somewhere around 4%. So you don't even have to go back that far,
Right.
In order to see, what are some of the implications of the decisions that we're making. And I think that that's part of being a good decision maker,
Right.
Is what are some of the, what's the story behind it?
Right.
How did we get here? Has this happened before? And I think that's also one of the things that comes with being a middle child. Right? So I saw the things that my sister made, some of my older cousins, those decisions that they made, and okay, I want to do that. I also want to be a part of student council, or maybe I don't want to go down that path.
Right.
I don't want to get in trouble with Irma. So making some different decisions. But let's take a look at where we were in order to make a better, more informed decision about where it is that we're going to go.
I think that's powerful. And I want to touch back. What you said is not off topic. Disparity studies, that's important. And the fact that we are at a pivotal moment in our world, and not just our world, the nation. We're in such a pivotal moment because there are a lot of people that are being overlooked, cut out, and left behind. So how do we still give voice to that?
I think that it's important for all of us to be united and present a united front, and that too many times where we are pigeonholing ourselves and also competing against such a small piece of the pie,
Right.
as minorities, whether that's African American, Asians, women. In Houston, we are the majority.
Yes.
And so why are we then pitting ourselves against each other when we could make so much more of a difference if we were on the same page and working together? And it's, why are we saying this in 2025 in Houston? But it's also such an interesting time. And one of the
Right.
remarkable things about our city that I absolutely love Houston and love that we are at the forefront of this. What happens in Houston is going to be what happens throughout the rest of the country.
Yep.
So that's why it's so important that we present a united front and that we do this the right way. Because it's going to have a domino effect on the rest of the country, I believe.
No, I agree with you 100%. And with us, I think the Hispanic community is the fastest growing community here in Houston. So really speak to that because that's amazing. And other minorities are really becoming the minority. So I think I am in agreement with you that the way that we really combat this is really the unity of it.
Right. And that we are while we are the majority, or Hispanics are the majority when it comes to if you're taking a look at population data, I think you and I can both attest to the number of wealth management accounts
Yes.
that were opened, and those were disproportionately not minority accounts. And
Correct.
so there's still a big disparity when it comes to, or we need to provide more context and meaning behind that.
Yeah.
And all of the implications that come with not being, necessarily we're not number one when it comes to voting.
No.
We're not number one when it comes to wealth distribution. We're not number one when it comes to education. And so how do we get there?
Right.
And I think that it's by giving, making sure that we're all on the same page, recognizing those gaps that we need to fill, and then making sure that we have the right people in place to fill them, which is one of the reasons why I look at what's going on at City Council. I see what's going on within Harris County, because I really want to make sure that we're set up to succeed.
And I appreciate that about you, because one thing I can tell you, you will call me, you will text me, you'll be like, you need to be at this, you need to make sure you're visible, you need to make sure you know what's going on, we need younger people. So
Yes.
I appreciate that, because you're right, if no one is putting it in front of our faces, there's a lot of us that will just kind of keep going with our day-to-day life and not understand the importance of how this could impact us long down the road. So I appreciate you, because you definitely bring it to my attention, and you're like, okay, Allison, what are you doing in this space? And I was like, well, I hadn't even thought of that space. So I thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Plus, it's just so much more fun to attend functions with you.
Oh, thank you.
I also do it selfishly.
Oh, I feel so honored. But let's talk about you taking over your parents' company. I never thought you would do it. I'm proud of you. I'm surprised. And I definitely have seen growth in you from my little, like us kind of ping-ponging off each other and getting accounts open to you coming into this leadership role, really taking the city by force, especially in that staffing space. How has that been for you?
It has been a remarkable experience, remarkable journey, and going. I also, again, have to applaud my parents in the way that they went about it. So I started at the company as a recruiter, and there were those that did not think that I was going to perform particularly well, because the recruiters that I started off with had more tenure than I did. But it's not necessarily, one, I think that there's a lot of transferable skill sets
Right.
From that, and also just the willingness to learn and
Right.
willingness to dive in. And so we, when we started, we were hiring somewhere around 20 people a month. It was a small
Wow.
venture, and now we're hiring somewhere around 150 people per month. And so we've really grown quite a bit. But I mean, is there anything specifically, I don't know, that I could
Well, you
dive
said, okay,
into?
so you said you were drinking out the fire hose. I hear a lot of small business owners say that. So what did you learn while drinking out of the fire hose? I'm pretty sure it was a thing of like trying to catch up.
Right, exactly. Just wanting to learn all of the things at the same time, and so learning that being a business owner is it's challenging, and it is exciting, and you have to wear so many different hats. The other component is that your job does not stop on the weekends. It doesn't stop in
Right.
the evenings, and that you're constantly having to promote yourself, promote the value that you can add to someone else, and that doesn't stop. So even if you're at HEB or attending functions on the weekend, being able to promote yourself and the value that you can add to someone else's business, because I really do believe that we provide the best recruiting. One of the things that I know you and I both saw too, in working in banking, is that there's not a lot of diversity in the financial sector.
Yes.
And when you have someone that was constantly touting the importance of diversity in a portfolio, it's also so important to have that in a workplace.
Very much so.
And one of the consistent themes that I would hear is just the talent isn't out there. We would love to hire more talent, but it just isn't out there. And when I started at Merrill Lynch, my older sister was working across the street from me at Porter Hedges, and she had the same experience there where there were not any Latina attorneys. Wasn't to say that there weren't any Latinos in the workplace, but so it was a interesting dynamic, something that I heard consistently from hiring managers is that, something that we would love to do. And study after study has shown that having that diversity in the workplace adds to your bottom line. And our motto has been for decades. So I won't take credit for this, but we succeed when you do. And so I want to see those businesses be successful, and am happy to now have the staff and workforce that we have to provide those diverse candidates to workplaces.
That's awesome. So what is you guys' specialty now? Because I know it's kind of shifted. So where are you focusing on now?
So the bilingual workforce, having a diverse workforce is something that's really important to us. We have really been largely in the transportation sector in Houston. We don't have best public transportation here.
Right.
So that's been a wonderful opportunity for us to work in. So whether it is, customer service representatives that speak Spanish, Mandarin Chinese, Vietnamese, French, really leaning into that. But also engineers, project managers, where it is important that you're able to talk to different suppliers and to your workforce and in order to get projects done in such a global marketplace and diverse city like Houston.
Yes, that's awesome. So something that kind of to change the trajectory a little bit, something that I've always admired about you is how you're able to just really grow your network and create your brand and what people know you as. Why has that been so important, and how did you learn to position yourself?
So growing up, both of my parents being small business owners, they took us to those events. And so it was something that it wasn't an option. And I don't think we ever asked, quite honestly. It was just, you're going to this event with me. And so it really was something that I just grew up seeing and watching from both of my parents. And even, my older sister, we've just always been involved. And why I think it's important is that people enjoy doing business with people that they like.
Yes.
So you can move from one industry or sector to another, but those relationships, those friendships should, just like, we've been friends for, I don't want to age us, but but for, well over 10 years, just because we've switched jobs or switched industries doesn't mean that our relationship, our friendship is any less valuable. If anything, it becomes more meaningful over time.
I agree.
So it's just about being a good friend.
Yes, which you are. You most definitely are. I'm grateful, even though she's not here, I'm going to mention her, that when I call Sophia and I'm like, Sophia, I need you to sit down with Samira and kind of help her navigate, because Samira's personality is totally different from mine. I think she's more like you. She's very shy, very reserved. But when she needs to be, she can come forward. So I'm grateful to have friends like you who can help me balance that personality of my daughter, because my personality is totally different from hers. So Sophia has been a great coach for me. It's like, okay, Allison, give her space, let her kind of come through. And I appreciate it because I've seen how you've blossomed throughout the years. So thank you for that.
And that's also been something that I'm recognize in different leaders, right? So my leadership style is very different from my mom's leadership
Right.
style, where she is much more direct to the point. And that's just how she is, just very assertive and dynamic and amazing. But also seeing folks in our community, some of her friends, like Francis Castañeda Diaz and Angel with the American Leadership Forum. But seeing they have a softer and a different approach, and seeing that you can be successful no matter what your approach is. You don't always have to be the type A personality in order to drive results.
Yes.
Although that is traditionally what has been the most successful.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be that way. And we have to embrace those different leadership styles. And I think it's part of, having that diversity and in the workplace, having that diversity in the community.
Well, I think that's important because you've been a testament of that. So for me, as someone who is a type A personality, seeing that a different approach still be effective has kind of made me, okay, this is okay. This is okay.
Yes.
So it's given me it's given me a softer approach, and it's given me ability to look beyond what I know is my tradition and allow her to kind of cultivate her own space.
I mean, you just have done such an amazing job raising her, and she has such a good head on her shoulders. So I'm like, Allison, there's no reason to worry there.
Oh gosh, I don't know. It's a type A in me. But no, I understand. And I'm grateful because like I said, it's a lot of different people that are truly part of the village that has helped me and seen Samira grow throughout the years. So I'm grateful, but I was not a one-man show. So I want to definitely make that be clear. It wasn't a one-woman show. I had a lot of support from a lot of different people. And that's why I like what you said, that when you were networking with your parents, it wasn't optional. And that's been very important to me because I don't think it's who knows you. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. Mm-hmm. And that's something I want her to be, and not just her, just that generation coming behind us, the importance of that your reputation and your name goes before you. So how you position that, how you use that, that's really your leverage for your success.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And not having to, fit a square peg into a round hole, right? So being able to be your authentic self is always going to be, I think, the best way to connect with others, instead of having to put on this persona of, I am assertive. That just isn't me. I need to improve on that.
No, but that's so funny, but that's so true though. But you've garnered great success. Even though you're not like her, like commanding and have this strong presence, it's still very engaging.
Mm-hmm. And I've found that it works for me. When you have staff that enjoy coming to work, I think that service and that delivery that they produce, you can feel it when you walk into our office, that they're happy to be there. They enjoy collaborating with each other. It helps with retention. There are so many benefits from just enjoying where it is that you work. I mean, you're there for 8 hours a day. You spend more time with those folks. And why not have it a place that you enjoy while also delivering great results?
And something that I love that I had witnessed firsthand is how you guys, when we went to the annual luncheon, you guys had your lawyer there, you had your accountant there, you had all key people that helped make sure your business was a success and is a success. And you don't treat them like they're just they're part of the business. They're not just an extension of the business. They're actually part of your business. And I think that's so important, and definitely speaks to why you guys have been able to keep the company going for as many years.
Yes, and they have invested so much time in us, and so we want to invest in them as well. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about, you want to do business with people that you like and that you enjoy, chatting with. One of our attorneys, Stephen Quesada, with Ogletree Deacons. I mean, every time I can call him about a challenging situation, and he will have me laughing within 30 seconds. He's just such a funny, just what a joy and pleasure to work with. So if you can establish those kinds of relationships where he does a tremendous job, he's given us such great advice, but it's also just, enjoy speaking with him on a regular basis, where then you're not hesitant to pick up the phone, even when you have some challenging decisions to make, right? It's about, we're still going to make them and, hopefully also have a good time, get a smile out of it.
Oh, I love that. So as we kind of come to a close, I want to ask you, so my podcast is called They Say. So we all have those moments where they say you couldn't do something and you did it. I want to know of a time where maybe they said, or someone you might have said to yourself that you could accomplish something, but you got it done.
That I couldn't accomplish something? Oh my goodness. Well, let me run the list by you. I had a manager tell me that I was not going to be successful, and I ended up, being number one in Houston, in that I had actually multiple. This sounds terrible. Like multiple people tell me that I was not going to be successful in something, and instead of embracing that or taking that and going back to say, okay, am I really not a good fit for this? I just used it as ammunition and an opportunity to prove them wrong. And it felt so good when I did. Yes. And so I encourage that with some of our staff that are at different client sites. When they hear something discouraging, it's like, okay, great. Take it. And what are you going to do with that to make it more constructive?
Right.
Yes. And make yourself bigger and better, because it's possible. I mean, there is no better time to make your dreams come true than today, 2025.
Right. We're in a world of opportunity. So, Sophia, how do we keep up with you? How do we find you? How do we connect with your company?
So you can check us out on LinkedIn. You can go to our website, www.etchouston.com. And I'm on LinkedIn and we're on social media. So by all means, yes.
And she's our local, politician, getting us out and about and making sure we're getting connected with the community. So I just want to thank you. You have been my friend, my sister, my confidant, shoulder to cry on, someone that I could rejoice with, someone I could laugh with, someone I could cry with, someone I could scream when something wasn't right. So I want to thank you, because there's not often times where you meet people that you can do life in different forms of life and different transitions of life together. So I just want to thank you for that. And thank you for being so awesome.
You've been so amazing, and it's been such a pleasure being your friend. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, you're welcome. And that definitely, thank you guys for watching this episode of They Say. I'm going to get off so I don't start crying. But it has been a pleasure and an honor to have my friend, my sister, Sophia Gonzalez. You have a good evening.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh God, don't. Yes, we love each other in real life. Yes.